What if I told you that you will spend about a third of your entire life unconscious? Roughly 25 years gone, just laying there with your eyes closed. It seems like a waste of time, right? So, a reasonable question is what if you just didn't? Yeah, what if you stayed awake and never slept again? Let's run the clock, starting now. You are awake and you're going to stay that way. Here's exactly what happens to you hour by hour. The first day feels easy for the first 16 hours or so. You're just a normal person having a normal day. But somewhere around the 16-hour mark, the point where you'd usually be heading to bed, a hidden pressure starts building in your brain. Scientists call it sleep pressure. Every hour you're awake, a chemical byproduct builds up in your brain, and the more it builds, the sleepier you will feel. Normally, sleep flushes it out. Tonight, you're not letting it. By the time you hit 24 hours awake, one full day, something surprising happens. Studies have found that being awake for about a day impairs you roughly as much as being legally drunk. Your reaction time slows, your judgments get worse, and you will swear you're fine, which is exactly the problem. Because impaired brains are terrible at noticing they are impaired. Now, push past a day, and your brain starts fighting back with a dirty little trick, the microsleep. Without warning, your brain will shut off for a fraction of a second, half a second, 2 seconds, and then snaps back on. Your eyes are open, you might even still be walking or talking, but for that instant, you were completely unconscious, and you have no memory of it. Your brain is so desperate for sleep that it starts stealing it in tiny pieces, whether you agree or not. This, by the way, is what makes drowsy driving so deadly. A 2-second microsleep at highway speed means you travel the length of a football field with nobody driving. Now, around the 2 to 3 day mark, things starts to get strange. The world starts to feel dreamlike and slippery. Many people begin to hallucinate, seeing shadows move, hearing voices that aren't there, feeling like the walls are breathing. Your emotions collapse into a mess. You are irritable, then euphoric, then paranoid, then crying, sometimes within minutes. Your brain, unable to enter the dream state it needs, essentially starts leaking dreams into your waking life. So, how far can this actually go? The most famous case belongs to a teenager named Randy Gardner, who in 1963, for a school science project, stayed awake for about 11 days straight. Yes, and that's around 264 hours awake under observation. By the end, he was struggling with memory, speech, and hallucinations, but he survived, and after one long recovery sleep, he seemed largely fine. Records like this aren't officially tracked anymore, because deliberately pushing sleep deprivation to its limits is genuinely dangerous, which raises the real question, could a total lack of sleep actually kill you? For a healthy person, this is where the thought experiment runs into a wall, because your brain simply will not let you stay awake forever. The microsleeps gets longer and more frequent until eventually you lose the fight. Sleep isn't a suggestion, it's a biological law your body will enforce, even against your will. But there is one terrifying exception, and it's the reason we know sleep truly is non-negotiable. There is an extremely rare genetic disease called fatal familial insomnia. In the people who inherit it, a tiny part of the brain that controls sleep is slowly destroyed. Over months, they lose the ability to sleep at all. Not because they don't want to, but because the machinery is broken. They can't fall asleep no matter what, and tragically, the condition is fatal. It's one of the clearest pieces of evidence we have that sleep isn't optional downtime. It's life support, literally. Because here is what your body was actually doing during all those wasted hours. While you sleep, your brain coordinates the day's memories, filling them into long-term storage, which is why you learn better after a good night's sleep. It balances the hormones that control your hunger and your mood. And most remarkably, your brain runs a kind of overnight cleaning cycle, flushing out waste products that build up during the day, including proteins linked to long-term brain diseases. You don't sleep because you're weak. You sleep because your brain is doing critical maintenance that it cannot do while you're awake. So, finally, what happens if you never sleep? For the first day, You will feel drunk without drinking. By the second and third, your brain starts hallucinating and hijacking micro moments of unconsciousness. And past that, for a healthy person, you simply can't win. Your body will force you down before it lets you die. Sleep isn't a thing that interrupts your life. Sleep is literally the thing quietly keeping the rest of your life running. That third of your life you thought you were losing, it's the part that pays for the other two.